Hello and welcome back to Torment Tides of Numenera. So, when we last left off, I poked around a bit, found a ghost, died to the ghost, for some damn reason or another. Ended up in an exciting new place that looked a lot like the Crossroads but wasn't, and got sent off to find some more half-possessed people. So, before we do that, I'd still like to talk to everyone in here, especially since I'm standing next to someone called Almas the Soul Keeper. And of course I'm going to talk to them. I just drank black goo that came out of the wall just to see what happened. So, let's go chat. For a moment, you're not entirely sure if you look upon a construct or a human. The plastic sheen of this pale man's skin suggests artificiality, but if he is a construct, he's so cunningly constructed, so close to the human baseline, that the illusion is nearly perfect. Except his head is a trifle too large, his eyes black buttons. Then you realize the truth. He is a visitant, his home many millions of miles distant. Millions, that still puts you inside the inner solar system. Anyway. Almas, my name. So, who are you? What's up with you? He lifts his great head slowly and fixes you with a dolorous gaze. I am Almas. I am the keeper of souls, last of my kind, the only survivor of a civilization that spanned time and space. Now they are gone, their stars black. Reality's winds carry me away. What happened to your people? The highest caste of power. Controlled we minds, ideas, for all souls of empire. A great web we wove, shining with power. But other nodes, they winked away, until only I remained. His fingers drum on the tabletop. An image of my people I carry, but no place to make it real. Our domain, lost. I, alone, and paralyzed with indecision and fear. So how did your civilization die? A doubt arose. It took seed, took flight. These thoughts connected to our network. These questions spread like disease. Trust, mistrust rooted. Nodes decohered. Hey, without nodes, without control of dreams, the civilization falls. And then, they are gone. I remain. So you had a meme virus. That's interesting. Very interesting. What was the doubt that destroyed your civilization? I do not know. I do not recall. Yet something in his stance suggests otherwise. Tell me the doubt that destroyed your civilization. I know you know. I do. Yes. It was my doubt. Mine. My question. I asked only, what if our way is not best? What if our people have desires of their own, wants that we do not give? He places a single hand across his eyes and then slowly slides it away. The others began to see and question. Questions give way to self-doubt. Self-doubt gives way to self-hate. That leads to the dark side. I wanted only to know, what is best in life? How do we become better? Not to tear us down, but I shone a bright light on behavior, on truth. But our center could not hold under truth. His wet, terrified eyes fix on yours. Was I to blame? Is civilization's end affixed on me? In dreams I see their faces, but not their minds. Tell me truly, is the fault mine? Think you're blameless. Erase the doubt. No. You planted the seed, you bear the blame. You could have kept your questions to yourself. It sounds like they were in a big psychic mesh. Are you sure they're gone? What if they start... Oh, that's interesting. These are all bizarre answers. See, I don't feel like asking a question is a terrible thing to say. Like, in general. It was his question, possibly, that dismantled the society. If you require sort of a consistent, a consistent psyche distributed across many minds, then yeah, I mean, it is his fault, but is he blameless? I want to kind of dance around the question. Are you sure they're gone? What if they saw your doubt and just cut you away, cast you aside? Horror dawns on his face. Is this why I cannot feel them? Why I retain only an image? He closes his eyes and concentrates, hard. Across the bar, other patrons wince and cover their ears with their hands. You feel the brushing of a great and terrifying howl of anguish. He whispers, I am alone. I feel an echo, but no true response, as if they hide. He pulls his hands apart, and you have the sense of a vast network of power contained between them. He raises his hands before his face, and then he crumples his fist. The energy vanishes. I have severed the last connection, the last hope. If they exist still, they must exist without me. Let me be forgotten. No more, he whispers. No more. He drops his head and weeps. Uh-oh. Sorry, dude. Okay.
Trust and honesty are our bonds.
That's interesting. It really didn't feel like there was a right answer there. Oh, huh? Your eyes cannot focus on this person. Whether male or female, you cannot say, but it hums with a force that both attracts and repels you. You get a sense of amusement as its regard settles upon you. You speak with O, it says. You have tasted the truth in form of machine lubricant. You have contemplated the totality of human existence. Speak quickly and true. Oh, well, I'm glad that I was drinking oil. Who are you? I am O. You might call me an ultra-terrestrial, although I am far more. I am from beyond space, beyond time, above your comprehension. Oh, you're Q. Your mind has chosen this form for me, and I am content to exist in this structure. But know that I exist also outside of your subjective experience. Some might describe me as a superpositional extraction of fundamental universal laws made tangible. I would. It gestures languidly, and you understand perfectly. I am a word made flesh, a letter at least. A concept covered in a false skin, infinitely malleable, essentially unknowable. What does that mean to be a word? I was, am, will be. I see into the infinite past, into the illimitable future. When the cosmos erupted into a sea of light, I saw it. When the mechanism winds to a sad and creaking end, I will weep. At the moment the great wings of death enclose creation, I am the last vestige of dust, frozen, forever perfected. That's weird, so what are you doing here? I am here to see the final attempt at entry by the adversaries. I am here to offer a vision to Leto. What? Did you say this was the final attempt at entry by the adversaries? The adversaries thought to peel through realities, to devour this world as they have others. They have never lost. This world is their first taste of defeat. Within themselves, the eaten cores of their victims begin to stir. The adversaries will cease to exist in any meaningful form within a millennium if they are stopped here. This is an inflection point. If the warriors here succeed, the adversaries do not rise again for an eon. So it is written. So where did you come from? You would not understand. Let me show you. Its eyes widen, expanding to fill the room, your vision, your consciousness, and you tumble into a starry immensity. Swirls of nebulae twist and knot, and in the hearts of these stellar clusters roar hungry vortices. You tumble helplessly into a myriad of them at once, torn apart and reformed in an instant into a being of pure light and will of... You find yourself standing in the fifth eye again. Your nose is running, and tears streak your cheeks. You wipe them away numbly, and you realize your hand is streaked with blood. Neat! Too much information, too much knowledge. Had I shown you more, the energies that bind you together would have failed. Sorry, but thank you, that was cool. So you said you had come to offer a vision to Leto? She is Precinct. She is the mother of empires. The adversary's presence has polluted her vision, and she has strayed from the page. I am here to reunite her with the truth. I do not intervene, but this story was true, and so it is true, and this is not an intervention. The vision will come when you have left the city, when I have left the city. Huh. A moment. None here will know of our conversation. None will know its nature. None see me, nor will they recognize any sign of me. Even in this remarkable place, they cannot know. But I give you a gift, cast off in God and man, for yours is a true story. It is welcomed into the world. It was born from desire, and it will end in... But no, I do not tell your fortune. Light envelops you, and when you open your eyes, O is gone. 4 health pool. This is... That was awesome. I'm so glad I talked to him. That was really cool. Okay, that was awesome. Alright. I'm not even sure how I'm going to try to say this. Yisk. The most distinguishing feature of this tall, vaguely awkward man is the yellow shirt he wears. He seems desperate to fade back into the scenery. When he sees you notice him, he gives you a faint, uncomfortable grin. Something about him seems off, as if he were a flicker in the air, or strangely two-dimensional. He does not seem to emit a sense of presence as well. Who are you? Aaron, called Sag, he almost whispers. I am not here. Is that why I can't sense you? Skist, he mutters. The yellow shirt fades away, and then the skin, muscle, and bone. What remains is a vaguely humanoid shimmer. I am Aaron, a trans-dimensional projection from a distant past. This Abikos form, this is not the truth of me, trapped in this body, but I am not his. What is an Abikos? A ghost, trans-dimensional. It feeds. I only watch and learn. Where are you from? Distant past, epochs ago. Turning through time to see the future. Overshot. It shrugs vaguely. Maybe next visit. Overshot. Yeah. How did you get to this place in particular? When casting through time, saw light, drawn to civilized thought, admiring psychics. Are you affecting this reality? Only words. The ghostly hands pass through you. Nothing touches. Only ideas. No physical energy conveyed. Well, that's odd. Nice to meet you.
Yes.
I think.
Now.
Huh. Malaise. What? This small, unassuming man occupies this space quietly, hands folded in front of him. He does not look at you, but you can feel his regard slip across you and dismiss you as you approach. His attention remains focused on the trio at the nearby table. Everything about him is nondescript, from his light brown skin to his drab clothing, but something about him gives you pause, as if you were approaching the throbbing core of a fallen vessel. When at last he turns his attention to you, you feel his regard settle. Like a soft blanket made of metal, it is almost oppressive. Malaise, he says, that is who I am. His voice sounds distorted, strangely out of sync, as if he were calling to you from a distance. You can't read his thoughts any more than you can read the thoughts of the tables in the bar. I don't read people's thoughts. Where did you come from? His voice is strange and disjointed. The world has always owned me. Look around the corner. I exist on the smallest edge. Close your eyes and shiver. I am the cold in your bones. The cicada is my home, the interstices my mind. The frost that surrounds his words suggests that you have offended him. Why are you watching these people? They shine, they call, they tempt. His voice shimmers strangely, and you hear a distorted echo of thousands of voices mimicking his words. What can you tell me about this place? He slowly turns his gaze towards the other patrons. A lodestone, a gathering of energies. Empty meat, a brief morsel, an obstruction. A bone, an ingrown hair. His empty, terrifying gaze turns back to you. An impediment. Huh. Weird. Do you have anything else to say about yourself? I am a constant. I live. I thrive. When a thought passes in your mind, I rush before it. I hear the pulsing of your thoughts. I am fabric essential. You're weird. Do you know that your name means sickness? Meaning itself is sickness. Vision, action, movement. This is the only sign of health. His slow and indolent gaze is like a great weight on you. The energy that flows in your body, I read it through your skin. I see your actions before your muscles even begin to twitch. The body's secrets are no defense against me. What is sickness compared to this? Well, you're weird. It was nice talking to you. I think. Okay. Dama of the Bloom, which we've heard about. The wispy mustache on this pudgy, middle-aged man would almost be comical if it weren't for his deep and despairing eyes. They are the eyes of a man who has passed through the gates of alien hells and returned, although not necessarily whole. His fingers, wrapped around some fine glassware, are strong and slim, a musician's fingers, or a strangler's, Before you open your mouth to speak, he says, "What is that place in your head?" Hi, how are you? Ordinarily I wouldn't say anything to you, and I would tell you to shove off. But you did already see it, so it's a labyrinth, I guess. A labyrinth? He raises an eyebrow and leans back into his seat. That's a novel construction. He starts ticking items off on his fingers. I've seen people construct psychic fortresses, cathedrals, graveyards, hellscape, and vortices from which no life escapes. All very dramatic places, all powerful and forbidding. But a labyrinth? Well, that's a whole different construction. That speaks to cunning and guile. Do you mind if I take a quick look? Seems like a strange thing to carry and not know anything about. His voice is polished and clean, friendly but intent. I'd really rather you didn't. He laughs. Smart move, keeping strangers out of your mind. When we get to know each other, let me know if you change your mind. He sets the glass down and shakes your hand. I'm Dama of the Bloom. He pinches the bridge of his nose, his eyes tightly shut, and you feel a gentle and powerful presence surround your consciousness. I have a request for you. It might seem strange, but you have an interesting typography to your mind. You might be able to help us. Stay out of my typography. The Fifth Eye is home to psychic veterans. We fought an incursion of, well, nightmares, I suppose. Nightmares slithering into the city's shared dream space, eating minds and leaving husks behind. We called them the adversaries. We burned them out and cauterized the wounds through which they infected our reality. But I can't shake the feeling that one of them survived and waits to strike. I trust my intuition, and now it's telling me to ask you for help. Now, in the general case, I disapprove of mind vampires. Do I want to help? Well, I largely built this city. This is clearly a special place to me. So, I guess I'm willing to risk a little. Alright, I'm willing to help. What do I need to do? He breathes a sigh of relief. My thanks. I feel the adversary. I know it's here. I know it's close. It's watching us, but it's hiding its presence, and I fear it will strike when our guard is down. It may well be in the Fifth Eye even now. He shrugs helplessly. Sadly, our Fifth Eye is blind. He jerks a thumb at the bartender. It might be that our foe has blinded us, but it might not have shielded itself from you. Look for it, and tell me if you find something unusual. So, tell me something about yourself. I told you they call me of the Bloom. I was born there, and I knew nothing of the world outside for the longest time. I thought it was normal to play in passages made of gut and tissue, to hide from slavers in divercula, to watch visitants staggering in from other worlds. I learned how to read people there, how to understand them. And then one day I left the Bloom and came to Sagas Cliffs, and I discovered the world was a different place than I thought. A better place. Huh, 'cause it wasn't, what, made of meat? Uh-huh. That's when I learned to fight. That's why I learned to fight. He gestures at himself. This isn't a warrior's body, of course, not in the usual sense. He smiles, and a great pressure wells in your head and vanishes before you can even register alarm. But I'm not unusual. No one in the Fifth Eye is. We're psychics, psionics, seers. Call us mind-benders or thought-rippers. But we're warriors. We keep the minds of Sagas Cliffs safe from threats they don't even imagine. I hadn't processed that. The Fifth Eye, not the Third Eye. Huh. The old man growls. They'd go crazy if they did. Not that they're exactly paragons of sanity at the best of times. So what can you tell me about the adversaries? A good question. Better if I show you. He closes his eyes, and you feel an insistent nudge in your mind. Then your vision goes black, replaced with a nightmare. You see a void, oblivion, a place where black stars hang and shriek with formless rage. Violet lightning arcs through the sky, and you witness enormous masses of pustulant orbs raging against each other. Streams of conscious thought rocket from them, and they scream of need, desire, and hatred. Other emotions arise with these, wisps of mental energy that curl like steam. They brush your consciousness with a touch beslimed with the unknowable hungers of an alien mind. These luminous wisps quest through invisible cracks in transdimensional walls. New worlds, unsuspecting minds, brilliant lights enfolded in the adversary's decaying orbits, imprisoned stars, winking out forever. They came through the bloom, shining and tenebrous at the same time, he whispers. They offered games, riches, promises for the future. I felt their passage and was afraid, and hid my mind from their questing touch. I felt them reach for me, and I cowered in my shell. Ziob, she lays a hand on Dama's shoulder. Those who didn't hide saw the lure, and they were drawn into that unwinnable mental game. Attracted by the light of the adversary's minds, they followed their own dreams into madness. Psychics and normals alike, the ruin of the city's minds was... She shakes her head. You were wise enough to see beyond the lure and into the danger. You couldn't stand against them yourself, and so you hid. We all did. Not all, he growls. Some stood. They played the game and got cracked like glow globes. I felt them die, and their spirits got sucked into a vortex of endless fear. You did the right thing, Dama, and I've told you that before. Fine, fine, he says, waving the words away. But you've seen what the adversaries are like now. Inhuman, with no negotiation. Maybe they're communicating with us and we don't understand them. But I tell you, if this is their hello, I don't want anything else to do with them. So, those of us who survived the initial incursion gathered here. We set aside our differences, and we fought back, but not without our own losses. It says I have a lead, but I don't... Like, is it this guy? These seem redundant. So, how would you describe the adversaries? What are they? I don't know. What we see isn't the whole picture. We know that. It's an extrusion into our world, just a piece of the creature's psychic material. Maybe it's a conscious unit on its own. Maybe it's self-directed. But my deepest fear is that every adversary we've seen is the smallest piece of a singular entity, and that our pushback is drawing its attention ever so slowly towards us. If you've ever met one, you'll know why that frightens me so. So how do you fight these things? Are you thinking we might use your labyrinth to trap it? Don't! Don't do it! Believe me, dude, I was not thinking that. He steeples his fingers under his chin and considers. Though, wait, it might work. It might. No, it won't. He looks at Thaboros and Ziob. They exchange a wordless communication and he shrugs. We used a spotter, someone trained to recognize their scent. He'd give them the briefest engagement, enough to whet their appetites, and he'd bring them to a battlefield of our choosing. The adversary will tempt you with something. It will tap into the parts of your mind that you had forgotten, ignite a desire. It will offer bargains, tastes of power, and try to draw you towards its way of thinking. The key is to keep control of the imagery and the metaphors in your minds. It's to keep control of the imagery and the metaphors your minds conjure together. That's where I come in. Thaboros leans toward the table, his gaunt face seeming even more drawn. I'd feed words and stories to our spotter, help him build an internal story that seems to mirror what the adversary told, and I'd lay a pathway towards our battlefield. He'd walk down that pathway, and the adversary would be extruding itself into our world right alongside him. His smile is hard and feral, and then we'd close off the exits and get to work cutting it to pieces. So, tell a story, resist the adversary's metaphors, build in the details of your heart and mental space, draw it in, and then use your familiarity with the place to destroy the bastard. He swallows the rest of your drink. If you're going to try, and again, I can't emphasize enough that you should seek our help, but if you do it alone, I can't believe I'm saying this, if you do it alone, be careful. You have no idea how unimpressed I am with this entire plan. Totally unimpressed. Can you tell me about the people here? He smiles, a little wistful. Sure, but keep in mind most of them can hear us. Who did you want to gossip about? The others burst out laughing. He gestures around the bar. They've all got their stories. Some of them aren't from this world. Some aren't even real. This summons another peal of laughter. Dama points his chin around the room. There's Thaboros, Ziob, and Leto. Oh, and Feriak. We own the place together. We've fought in all manners of wars, battles, and conflicts. We've traveled for some, worn Esper helmets for others, or projected ourselves across the world. But the worst were the adversaries. They were the true test of all of us. They forged our friendship tighter than any other experience could have. The best part is, we've sacrificed our lives, our friends, and our sanity for a city that'll never know. They keep on with their daily lives, and just assume the rash of madness is some effect of the Numenera. Gave up the best parts of our minds, and they don't even care. Doesn't matter to me what the rabble think, but it'd be nice to at least get some professional recognition. We've been over for this, Theberos. We didn't do it for ourselves. We do it because it's the right thing. Why does it matter if they know we're not? The important thing is that you took action. Sure, saving the lives of people who flinch when they see me coming. I love seeing mothers snatch their children from my path. Clearing the insects from my bedroll is the next important step in knowing that I took action, because the ingrates in Saga's cliffs won't even sell me a damn clean sheet. If they were dead, at least I could steal their sheets. Dude. Who do you think the adversaries would go after once all the citizens were dead, friend? You think they'd head out into the world, leaving your mind glowing bright behind them? I could shield myself, no problem. I did it when they came out, remember? Just like you. Yes, I did, but I found help, and we hunted those bastards down and wiped most of them out. You? If you were alone here, you'd get tired of having to hide your true self around them and start cursing at them just so they'd notice you. I kind of agree, actually. He's kind of a prima donna. He turns and holds his hands up. You see what I have to put up with? Ask for a modicum of respect, and instead I get mockery. I don't know what we pay attention to this old... I don't know why we pay attention to this old gallows glass. So what did you mean when you said that some of the others here aren't even real? The smile disappears. Talk to Zio. Alright. How did you all come to this place? He frowns. It called to us. It was a beacon. It was warm and welcoming. The first time I set foot inside these doors, the noise from the outside world lessened. It didn't disappear. I can focus and hear it as I wish. But I could let down my guard, relax. He looks around the room. I wager that's the same is true of all the others. Wonder if this thing... The malaise is the adversary. Because I can't help but notice that he's not listing it. Isn't some of the people that he can see. So, I talked to Feriak, so what do you think about him? The smile slips from her face, but she says nothing. Dama doesn't look towards the bar, but his mood turns somber. A true empath. Our spotter, back when he could do the work. A brave man, aware of the risks he took. Psychically sensitive, able to catch the lure of the adversaries, and willing to run with it. If it hadn't been for him, we'd never have had the successes we did. He looks down at the table. The last one we fought caught him. It took his... He pauses, lost in thought. Ziob steps in. It took some of the things that made him special. He can't spot for us anymore. His powers aren't what they were. He's a shadow of his true self. But the Elskis sucker has our thanks anyway, says Theberos. He raises his glass towards the bartender and drops it on the table as Ziob punches his arm. Hey, that's bad luck, you know. Don't you speak an ill word about him, Theberos. Not after what he did. You know how I feel about Feriak, Ziob. He swishes the liquid left in his glass, his head and voice lowered. Before he lost his powers, he was one of the best of our team. One of the best I've ever known. They all nod. He cackles, but don't tell him I said so. So what about Leto? I haven't chatted with them yet. She's our seer, our precinct. She knew where the adversaries were going to be. She knew when they'd be there, so we could set ourselves up in time. His voice is somber. But they grew wise to her. They threw themselves through probability space, played the game of maybe with her, and they were better than she was. Not so loud, he murmurs. It wasn't her fault. I never said it was, Dama says. He radiates tension. The adversaries got better than all of us. We're lucky they only... He wipes a tear from his eye. We're lucky we only took the losses we did. So who are your pals here? Who's Ziob? Let's not. Nonsense. Ziob is our enforcer, our telekinetic. She summons visions for us to distract our foes, projects deadly energy, and harnesses the power of the physical world to anchor us, or our memories, while we deliver the killing blow. She also lets us focus our energy through her. She's what you might call our heavy weaponry, because she makes the immaterial world much, much more tangible. While we frolic in the playgrounds of the mind, she's concerned with more earthly matters. How poetic, you old scholar. Truly, you took the words straight from my... Why, you dirty thief. Dharma holds up his hands in surrender. You were practically shouting, Ziob. How could I help but listen? So who's your less amusing friend Theberos here? Theberos, despite his terrible complexion, gaunt face, and bird-like nose, and questionable taste in haberdashery, yes, hence the pink hat, Actually, I'm trying to think of any redeeming qualities that might offset all of this. I'm right here, you know. Dom ignores his friend. Ah, yes. Despite these obvious disadvantages, Theberos has become one of the preeminent warriors of language in the entire world. You can laugh, but the old saying is undeniably true. The tongue with the word is deadlier than the hand with the sword. That's interesting. So he's a combat epistemologist. Unless the sword hand gets to you before you can make someone else get in the way, he mutters. Dama laughs. He can plant words in your mind that will activate and weaponize your body against itself. With a word, he can spin illusions inside your skull. He knows the hidden receptors and compartments of the mind, and he can whisper lock you dead. That's a fair enough assessment, huh? Wow. Okay. Okay. Alright, that's all for now. Thank you. I'm really wondering about the Malays here. If he's the thing, because notice that he's intent on watching them. Whereas they are sort of the primary focus of the anti-adversaries. Sir Arthur also didn't get noticed by them. That's interesting. Leto we've seen but not spoken to. Didn't see the ghost lady. Didn't talk about, Almas. So I wonder why those weren't all mentioned.
Of course.
Well, we'll have to figure that out. In any case, let's take a break, and I'll ponder some of this, and then we will continue on our journey. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.